What is going on, true believers? Sometimes things happen. You can't even make some of this stuff up, right? I don't know what is happening right now. Some craziness, some insanity, but I feel, and by the way, I've been annoyed with myself over this for a little while. So I thought that since something has happened and I somehow am perhaps portrayed as a villain or something like that in somebody's mind, I feel like maybe it's time for just some honesty, I want to say. So if you guys haven't, hit the like button on your way in because this is about to get weird. So let's talk about it. By the way, new studio. Who dis? So I wake up this morning and I decide, it's been a while since I've talked to Ben. Haven't talked to him in a bit. Maybe I should go check and make sure that everything's fine. Now, I remember seeing this on my stream a couple days ago saying that he was going somewhere in here. He was going to a 5-day meditation retreat. So I thought, okay, cool. Hope that he's going to be okay, right? He should be back by now. Let's make sure and let's see how he is. And this is what I get greeted to, right? Now, I don't have any defense for me for anything that you guys pretty much know I'm an open book. So, but the one thing that I do is I still stay in communication with J-Chains. I still stay in communication with AJ. I don't talk to him about Ben, but I do still talk to them, and I think that's maybe taboo. And by the way, maybe I just don't matter. You know what I mean? So, and that's okay. But let me go back and let me take you on a journey. Year and a half ago, I was working as vice president of a little company. That company closed. And my wallet, my crypto wallet, got hacked at the same time. Cassie and Ben immediately, and by the way, I should probably say Cassie more than Ben because Cassie hired me immediately to do Bencoin daily content. And I did Bencoin daily content until, I want to say for about 4 or 5 months. And they paid me as an influencer for that. Then something came up. They changed CEOs. Cassie became the CEO of YouTube, the YouTube channel, the Bitboy X. I don't know what it's called anymore. But and by the way, this is something that I don't know the reason behind. It's none of my business. I don't get it, right. But Cassie is no longer CEO or CTO of Bencoin. She is now taking over YouTube. Ben is going to thus take over Bencoin. I'm not saying it was, but to me it sounds like it was an attempt to hide income so that, didn't have to pay ex-wife or, what. But I don't know. It's not my job. I don't work for his ex-wife, so I don't care, hide your income, whatever. But that's what I figured it was. And at the same time, I get a call from Ben, lasts about a half hour. Over the course of it, he tells me everything I'm doing wrong on my channel, what I can do to improve, and, nobody wants to see my face. Everybody wants to see his face or Michael Saylor's face or Elon Musk, or just go with the famous people. He gives me an idea. And by the way, this is the same idea. This was what Altcoin Daily told to, Ben or something a long time ago, or whoever it was that Ben went to for advice on what he should do on his channel. I think he said at one point, I'm paraphrasing here, but I think he said at one point that he went up to Altcoin Daily at some kind of convention and they gave him ideas on what to do. So he was helping me in his own way. And then, by the way, at the end of it, telling me that, I was no longer going to be working for Bencoin, which, hey, some things run its course. It's okay. The important thing is I'm going to support this guy because his company was stolen from him by a bunch of crooks, by a bunch of low-life loser crooks, right? We apparently don't agree on who the crooks are, but a bunch of loser crooks. So that leads me to Bencoin and this day right here. On this day right here, and I think we all know. Now, to be honest with you guys, by this point, I've already sold. I've already sold my Bencoin, and I'm out of this project completely when they told me that my services were no longer needed. Now, that really wasn't the reason. The reason was because I, had to sell to pay bills. So, and the total amount that I had was about, it had already faded so much that it was down to about $1,000. So, and that was from a high of 47,000, by the way. Just so you guys understand, I round tripped it. I didn't cash out at the top because to me that's devious against you, and I rely on you guys for everything that I do. So it's more important to me to hodl and support you than it is to make my bunch of money, right? Well, at some point, but I did sell $1,000, maybe $1,200. Suddenly, one night, in the middle of the night, or in the middle of the day, whenever, 29 billion in liquidity gets removed in one fell swoop. And then 9.5 gets added back in for some reason. And then a little while later gets taken back out. So now clearly somebody is over here doing something, some kind of screwery is going on. How much is 29.1 billion? Well, it actually turns out it's about $1.1 million. That's how much, or somewhere near that, is what was taken out of Bencoin. So Bencoin gets absolutely wrecked and devastated. And then a report comes out from a company called New Genesis. New Genesis says, it's our fault. We had a third party who did some kind of thing and stole the money. And there's nothing we can do about it. Now, what I've never revealed was I immediately got messages, and I don't know if this makes me the villain, but because it was Ben, I didn't come public with any of it. Since I'm not trusted, I guess I should find people who could find me trustworthy, and that means you guys. So I'll be truthful with you. I got this information, and I didn't do anything with it. Except I contacted Ben. And it was this right here. The guy alleged that he was with New Genesis, that he was the brother, okay? Hey man, sorry for the message, just reaching out. I'm Hussein Faraj, CEO of New Genesis brother. Just giving you a heads up, my brother is a huge scammer. If you want some info on him, open my page and have a look. Now, I did, but I don't remember anything. You know, I said I already did. I saw everything that you had said and what I'd said there because I saw his last post, and his last post said that basically what he was saying was that Ben and Hussein Faraj, they were the ones that took the liquidity and split it. So, sweet bro, if you ever need any information on Benny or Hussein, just hit me a text. I said, how is Ben tied in would be my question. And then he says, you mean to the rug pull of Bencoin? And I said, yeah. He says, of course Ben is tied to the rug pull. Him and my brother planned it all, rug pull offshore into my brother's account in Iraq. Do you think Benny is that stupid to give my brother full access to his liquidity? I mean, anybody who's a developer, I would assume. So at this point, you know, again, I don't believe this guy at this point. It was my understanding your brother ran the company. Ben had the new contract created through. And I misspelled it with contact, but it was contract. And he said, I skipped through a little piece of this that I must have cut off here slightly, but although Benny is definitely in on scams, do you want have a talk over the phone? I'll give you a call. I said, yes, but I'm kind of busy right now. Can we do this tomorrow? I'd like to get the story. This is November 18, by the way, 2024. He says, yeah, okay, let me know. And then 3 days later, buddy, when you're able, let me know. Your name popped up in a few convos. I know you're not involved with my brother. Just give me a call and I'll explain. So somehow there's conversation about me in a few conversations, and I don't know anything about that. But that leads me back to Bencoin. So I had an allegation that I was sitting on for this period of time that, and by the way, I immediately reached out to Cassie because Ben at this point is not, not replying, or if he is, it's just LOL or something like that. Not replying. And by the way, I'm not asking him about any of this. So I asked Cassie, and I said, well, I've got this guy who's telling me this. And then I let her see, I guess I didn't let her see it, but I told her what the guy was saying. And she said, look, please, we're not doing that. We haven't stolen anything. So I don't know what this guy's talking about. We don't trust them, et cetera, et cetera. So I got, basically a good answer. Like, that was the answer that satisfied me, to the point that I felt, maybe I should just leave this and let it kind of die on the vine and let this guy do whatever it is that he's going to do. But again, I support Ben Armstrong because Ben Armstrong had his company stolen from him. And I don't like that, okay? Because at the end of the day, TJ, Lady Frame, he's a little crook. He's a crook who's banging his secretary. He's a scumbag. He's the same kind of scumbag that you think every scumbag is. He is that guy. And it was okay enough that a lot of people continue to work there that could have quit or didn't. And look, there's a lot of bad people, I think, that were involved. So I stayed quiet. Why am I bringing it to you today? Because this annoys the shit out of me. I am not somebody who, I trust people. I trust people. So when somebody tells me they are going to do something or something like that, I expect them to be that person to do. It is impossible to always be that person, but what I don't do is I don't stab you in the back. I come to you directly and I say it to your face. This guy doesn't owe me an explanation. He doesn't owe me anything at all. He doesn't owe me anything. He can block me, whatever. But the fact that this happened during this complete and utter meltdown led me to this right here. Now, this right here, for those of you that don't know, this is the new Ben coin. This is whacked. And that's because John McAfee had whacked. Then we have whacked over here, and whacked is up 137%. Looks like it's getting a nice little pump rate, right? But it's $85,000 in liquidity currently. There used to be $1 million in Ben coin. Used to be. Somebody that was an associate in some way stole everything. And this is whacked where it hasn't been stolen. It's at 85,000. But we know how these markets work. We know what meme coins. We know that somebody is going to be selling the top and somebody is going to be stuck holding the bag. The question is what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen next. And to be fair, I'm not an investor. I don't really care. But to summarize, a lot of you who follow Ben Armstrong also follow me because I talked about Ben coin, and I was one of the few people that was supportive of Ben Armstrong early on in this whole debacle. I made video after video after video of what was going on. I was giving you guys updates. I was telling you kind of, maybe some background information about what there was plenty of stuff that was happening that they were attacking him. And all of that is 100% true. I think that, it's imperative for me to talk to you and tell you guys, I'm not saying anything's happening. I'm not saying anything is happening at all. But I'm saying that if I'm not trusted by the people who, I supported when they needed it the most, then it's okay. I'm gonna be all right. It's not gonna matter. Ben Armstrong hasn't talked to me in 6 months to begin with, maybe 90 days, something like it. Just haven't had a conversation with him in a long time. Okay. He's got his own thing. He's doing whatever. Oh, well. But some of you follow me because of him, which means that some of you take what I say to heart while you're listening to Ben Armstrong. So here's what I'm going to say. Be careful, because I don't know who created this contract. I don't know, it's not my business. But you, as long as you're watching me, you are my business. I want you to be careful. I don't want you to get wrecked like you did when you bought Ben coin. And if you bought Ben coin back in the old day and you saw it go and get, wrecked or whatever the case may be, and you felt bad and you were looking for somebody to blame. And by the way, I was probably to that point still the biggest defender out here publicly of Ben at every given point, saying it didn't happen. I'm not saying that anything happened. What I'm saying is when you're overseeing $1 million and $1 million disappears, and then you go out and start overseeing another $85,000, you should be very, very careful, because you never know who created a contract or whoever did whatever did happen when whatever was happening was happening. So for you, be careful. This may be a perfectly good project. It's a meme coin. It's not a good project. It's a meme coin, but this may be a perfectly good meme coin. It might have a good shelf life. It might have a very fast shelf life. It's a meme coin. But protect yourself, because there's information that I just gave you that I never gave you before. And I'm doing it really out of spite, because I try not to be that person. I try to be the one who supports the people who've got people attacking and coming after them and stuff like that. And nobody's coming after me. Carlos, by the way, I did talk to Carlos Diaz not that long ago. He sent me a message letting me know, hey man, I still watch your show. And that's the guy with Ben Armstrong. I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Should I delete this? Should I leave this up here for a day or two and then just like this? Or is there something to it? I don't know. But you can let me know in the comments down below. It's not financial advice. I'm always right.